Right, I'm just starting the podcast now. It's currently 7:40 on Thursday. United are about to play Leicester, and I have Koulibaly stinking out my team, and I'm just deciding whether to swap him for Madison. And I'm going to have my helpful friend Sam tell me whether it's a good move or not.
How's it going, Tom? All right?
Not bad, mate. Not bad. Well, Sky-wise, because this is the Sky pod, not great. I've got to be honest. I've had a horrendous start. It's not affecting me, but I just think tonight, Leicester United, a lot of people are skipping. There is potential to score some points here. And if it all fails, it's only one transfer I've ultimately used because I'm getting rid of Koulibaly, who I'd want to get rid of anyway.
Yeah, I mean, looking at that right now, so I'm skipping in my first team. I've made the Koulibaly to Madison move in my second side because I'm at 43k or something. So just an opportunity to jump up. But they've got West Ham. They've got West Ham Saturday,
Chelsea
haven't
got
they?
West Ham next, yeah.
West Ham, Fulham, Liverpool, Palace, Wolves, the next five. I feel like I feel like maybe four of the five will score. They just don't look. I haven't seen a tremendous amount of them, but obviously results are showing everything. And what I've heard, they
Chelsea
don't
look
look.
pants at the moment, don't they?
Yeah.
I'm
And
just
when would you? Yeah. So go on, Tom.
Yeah, I'm just looking. So I'd bring in Madison today, obviously, on the 1st of September. He would then, I'd keep him in my team for Sunday the 4th when he's got Brighton, where Koulibaly would have West Ham. And then on Saturday the 10th of September, Chelsea play Fulham away. I
Yeah.
think I will go Madison to Fofana because I just think you've got to have Fofana at that value. Like, even if Chelsea are
Yeah.
crap, he's 7.5 million. Like, I just feel you have to have him. And then I'll just make the move then because I think by the 10th of September, he'll be back in the team as well. He'll be playing. And you see the lineups as well. So I think it just makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, I'll have. So in my A team yesterday, I decided not to bring Haaland back in, which
Oh, same. That's killed me.
now seems like such a mistake. But I had Cancelo, Van Dijk. Hang on.
Who'd you have the captain on?
Cancelo,
Did you
Van
have
Dijk,
Salah?
Kane, and Salah. And so the options were for me the only way I was going to get back to Van Dijk, and this is what I was initially going to do if Fafana signed in time for Tuesday, was bring Fafana in for Bruno G on the Tuesday, and that would then allow, or whatever day that game was, I can't remember what night that one was, and then that would have allowed Van Dijk to Haaland. But because Fafana hadn't signed in time, I had to make the Bruno G move. So my thinking was I thought Liverpool might have an opportunity for a clean sheet, so 10-pointer, and then Salah was, hopefully going to get something. And then we kind of cover the loss of Van Dijk to Haaland. It just didn't pay off. I worked out I'm like 28 points down as a result of it,
Yeah, I'm not
which is
even thinking about
pretty,
it. Yeah, I'm the same.
which is pretty killer. So I want to rectify the error because I think Haaland will probably start Saturday. I don't think he'll play the full game, of course, but I think he'll start. And as someone pointed out, he scored a hat trick in 38 minutes, so he could do that at the end of a game just as much at the start of the game. So going back to your point about Fofana, I will probably risk Bruno G to Fofana, and that'll allow Van Dijk to Haaland on Saturday. And I won't even know if Fofana's in the team. But as you said, it's such good value. They spent 75, whatever it is, £1 million on him. You'd pay that for passing bonus, wouldn't you? If you pay that for 5 points each week. So I think that's kind of a good move on your part there, Tom. And I know that there's with captaincies like a 5-for-1 option, isn't there? With captaincy, something like this for over Arsenal.
Mm.
So Leicester asset over Arsenal.
I think if you got
But
Zinchenko in your team, I think this will go out after the game, so it doesn't matter. But I'd like to think if people have got Zinchenko in their team, they're thinking about it. And Jesus, I'd be a bit sceptical because I'd captain Jesus against United next week.
yeah, I've got him penned in for two captaincies
Yeah.
here. So I've got him penned in for a potential captaincy on the 4th and a potential captaincy on the 9th, and then on the 18th as well. So there's three captaincies for Jesus there that I wouldn't want to leave. I know that you could already come back to him probably by the 18th, I think, but I want him, like you said, for those for the 11th and for the 11th and the 18th.
The kicker for me, mate, is just whether I bring in Haaland on Saturday. Like, I've gone without him so far. I think I should stick to my guns and stay without him at least until the 10th when I bring Fofana in, and then that will allow me VVD to Haaland. It's
Yeah,
just
sorry,
killing me.
I just made a little error then. Sorry, what I meant was I want Jesus for the 4th and then for the 11th
Yeah.
and then back in for the 18th, regardless. Yeah, yeah. The thing with that sort of mindset, Tom, is you can get like, right, I'm sticking to my plan regardless, although you just know that Haaland against Villa is an amazing fixture if he plays. What do you think happens with Liverpool versus Everton then? Because that's essentially what you're weighing off, aren't you? You're weighing off Salah versus Everton away.
See, that's the thing, isn't it? Like, usually you'd think Everton is a good fixture for any team, right? But for
Yeah.
Liverpool, they always show up in that derby and make it difficult for Liverpool. I don't remember watching a Merseyside derby that wasn't a bit edgy and a bit tight. It doesn't feel like the type of game that that Salah's going to go off in.
No, not at the moment. It doesn't, and I feel like Liverpool could concede. And I look at it right. There's two trains of thought here. If I personally, I made the VVD move to Haaland and the Bruno G move to Fofana. It could well wind up that Fofana starts on the bench versus West Ham and Haaland starts on the bench versus Villa. In that case, I'm missing two potential starting players and potentially some points there with Newcastle playing Palace at home with Bruno G looking like he's back or nearly back. So it is a really difficult one for sure. But my gut just suggests Liverpool aren't quite at the races at the moment. And I think if anyone is expendable, it is Van Dijk. And I do wish I'd made that move yesterday. I know hindsight's a great thing. And took the risk with Fofana coming in. I mean, even if Fofana sits on the bench for one game against West Ham, kind of doesn't bother me.
Right, so in order to leave me, so I think I've come to the decision that probably want to captain Haaland on Saturday against Villa and just take the risk that he doesn't play, because even if he comes off the bench, plays 30 minutes, he'll score. Or at least I think he will. So that leaves me tonight. If I want to do Virgil van Dijk to Haaland on Saturday, that leaves me 9 million in the bank tonight for a player. If I want to move Koulibaly onto someone, so I can't go for Maddison, but I could have Tielemans, I could have Rashford, or I could go for obviously a defender.
Or Harvey Barnes.
Or Harvey. Ooh. Yeah, I don't mind that at all. Actually, Harvey Barnes might be good.
How long would you hold for?
Literally just until Saturday the 10th. So 1 week, 2 games, and then move to Fofana.
Yeah, that would allow you to keep Jesus. So you didn't make advantage of that Jesus like Arsenal move. Like you said, I think it's better suited if you've got Saliba or Zinchenko and money in the bank to upgrade. I think I would do it then. That allows you then to captain Jesus on the 4th, and if you've got him penned in for the 11th as well, then you're kind of set there, Tom.
All right then, Koulibaly to Harvey Barnes. I think that's the one, isn't it? Barnes versus Tielemans. Sorry.
Yeah, Tielemans is playing, isn't he? So it looks like he's not going anywhere. Because if he was going, he wouldn't be playing tonight.
It's just Barnes v Tielemans is the decision.
I think Tielemans will tick you over better, potentially. But then Barnes is quite greedy, like shots. So, but Barnes, it's either going to be kind of a goal or so, isn't it? And shots bonus, or probably nothing, maximum shots bonus.
Or obviously I can go Rashford as well.
I personally wouldn't be doing that. I like it how you're making this. This is 10 minutes before kickoff, live on stream.
Okay, so my 3 options in my head are Tielemans, Harvey Barnes, and Rashford. I'm just going to look at that Leicester team again a second. So Leicester are playing Ndidi at centre-back with Johnny Evans. They got a crap goalkeeper. James Justin's in the team, so he's pretty good to be fair. And Luke Thomas.
Yeah,
I've
it's not.
got Rashford in my B team, to be fair.
So are you thinking down the route of Manchester United now?
Yeah, I'm just seeing where that leaves me next weekend with 12 minutes to go. Oh, and United have got Arsenal at home, haven't they, next weekend? I do think United look a lot better. I think they'll do well today. Um, Obviously, Leicester also need a win, don't they? Oh, I don't know. I don't know.
I think Leicester are quite leaky at the moment, regardless. So, like, I think Leicester can score. So, I think the merit for both is fairly decent. I don't think a player from either team is optimal moving forward longer term, personally.
But I'm only in it
Hence
for a
why
week,
I'm
so
yeah, hence why I'm skipping it. I wouldn't have skipped if it fitted. If Bruno G to like Madison fitted, and then I could get to Haaland, but I couldn't do that, so that put me off. And the only way I could have got to Madison is via Jesus, and with two captaincies pending for Jesus coming up, and comparing the fixtures, decided against that. But Tielemans is your safe bet, and then Harvey Barnes and Rashford offer pretty much very similar in terms of they're either going to get you a goal or something,
right.
or they're just going to.
I'm just gonna have a look at some FB ref stats. Sorry that you guys on stream, because this will be this will be old news by the time you watch this video. But it's important for me right now, so I'm just
You
gonna
guys
look.
can skip forward like 5 minutes on the stream.
I'm just gonna compare Rashford and Harvey Barnes' expected goal stats. Okay, so Rashford non-penalty XG per 90. It's not showing me this season though. It's saying the last 365 days. I want this season. How do I find that? Oh, there we go. Here we go. Per 90 minutes, expected goals. Oh, that's the team, not Rashford on his own. Oh, that's really annoying. FB Ref doesn't show me XG stats per 90 this season. Hang on. 22, 23, is that it? Okay, so his expected goals per game in the last 4 games for Rashford is 1. So it's 0.25 expected goals per game. And then Harvey Barnes. Who's only played 2 of the 4 games in the Prem as well.
Yeah. I think he had a knock, didn't he, at the start of the season?
So Barnes. So if Barnes has got a higher XG than Rashford, I'll go for Barnes. I think that's logical, isn't it?
Yeah.
So Harvey Barnes expected goals is 0.3. So it's 0.25 for Rashford, 0.3 for Barnes. That's looking like a skip for me, to be honest.
Yes, mate.
Do I want a player with 0.25, 0.3 expected goals?
No, and then like Tielemans, is Tielemans going to be worth the transfer? Like
I don't think he'll get bonus tonight. I think United are a bit more of a possession team now as well. I'd go for Maddison if I could afford him, but he breaks my team. He doesn't let me get Haaland in on Saturday if I go for Maddison. So
yeah,
I'm going to leave it then. Skip in.
Nice, mate. There we go. Live decision made 8 minutes before kickoff.
And 14 minutes into a video.
I think the sort of the thought process, and this is probably going to refer now back to normal Sky, is that last season I tried to make these moves that just didn't fit in the chase of 8-10 points, and I don't know, I've mentioned this on the pod already a few times, but I've made this one of my learnings from last year, that if a move doesn't fit in with my sort of short to medium term plan, and what I mean that is within the whole structure of the team, then I'm just not going to do it. And that's why I'm not on it tonight. I think if Maddison worked for me, I'd bring Maddison in, but it just then doesn't allow Haaland back in. It screws up a few changes.
I've just remembered though, if I don't move on to a Leicester player tonight, I cannot do Virgil van Dijk to Haaland on Saturday. I have to go without Haaland.
Unless you make another move of someone else.
Unless I do two, or I just do Koulibaly to Rashford in Barnes for one move for 1 week, then Van Dijk to Haaland on Saturday, and then do Rashford or Barnes to Fofana the next week. I think I've got to do it because otherwise I can't have Haaland again.
Yeah, that's not ideal at all, is it?
I can't be not having Haaland again. Can't be doing that.
No, that was a painful expedition. That's the first game I've missed without him all season, and yeah, it was not very nice for the whole game. But 38 minutes in, I was basically laughing. It was just like, this is ridiculous. This kid's just insane, and he's mopping up all those chances that City create. He's like, you'd expect like a good striker, a good season would be 20 Premier League goals. He's on 9 in 5 games.
I think he's got a good chance of breaking the record this season. Really do.
Yeah. So for me, he's coming back in.
All right, I'm gonna have to do it then. I'm gonna have to go for Harvey Barnes. It's not ideal.
I like that. I prefer that Harvey Barnes pick. I think over Rashford.
Ready?
Go for it, Tom.
Oh, it's done.
Make sure you set your captain.
Could you imagine? All right, it's done. What's quite good though is his average points per game in Sky is 7 at the moment because he's only played 2.
Yeah, I think he's a good shout, mate. I think he's a better shout than Rashford. Personally,
and they're at home as well, aren't they? I think King Power's a big factor for Leicester as well. All right, and then I can comfortably do Virgil van Dijk to Haaland on Saturday, and then do Barnes to Fofana, and then I've got loads in the bank to probably do Dyer to someone exciting as well. I'm happy with that. All right, it's done. I'll turn on the game at whenever we finish our pods and have a watch. Right, enough about me, mate. How are you getting on in Sky? What's your story?
So yeah, I did. So I got a little bit damaged. Really, I actually got away with it last night. I mean, I would have been a lot higher. Like I said, I would have been on 27, 28 more points. But hey, the decision was tough. I know when I listened to James, Planet FPL, and Luke talking, like this season, these decisions are there. And another day, Haaland gets 1 goal, BBD gets a clean sheet. Salah, who's created the most big chances this season in the Premier League, gets a couple of goals, and it looks a different proposition. But so I went from like 3K or high 3K to nearly 4K to really low 8K. So like 50, double the drop in rank. But the points are super close. I'm actually really quite happy with my team. And as I said to you, I think the moves I'll be making on Saturday are bringing Haaland back in for Virgil van Dijk. And then Bruno G will go to Fofana or Nico Williams. Kind of like their little run coming up. I had earmarked Henderson for Alisson for those 4 or 5 single match days, but with Nico Williams nailing passing, you'd like to think that he potentially match Henderson, because if Bournemouth keep a clean sheet, then both Hendo and Nico will get the clean sheet points.
Yeah, Nico's smashing the tackles, isn't he? I think he's got pretty much tackles every game, and he's got pretty similar attacking stats to Trent, and he's getting shots bonus occasionally as well.
So I could do Bruno G to Nico, and then I'd get Nico versus Bournemouth on the weekend, which is a nice fixture, and then Van Dijk to Haaland, and then that will just allow me a bit of time just to see what happens with Fofana at Chelsea, or I take the risk and go with the initial plan, which is Bruno G to Fofana, Van Dijk to Haaland, and then Alisson to Henderson on the 12th. And then captain Hendo quite a few times over the next few game days, there's 4 or 5. I've got 5 captaincies earmarked for him. Well, for a Forest player, and then leave Alisson in goal. But kind of half of me doesn't really want Alisson because they've got Everton, Wolves, Chelsea, Brighton, Arsenal, City,
And I think
which I don't really like the look of
I
that.
think with the Forest run, mate, Henderson is looking like one of the best keepers in the game. I'm glad that's one of the good moves that I think I've made so far is just getting rid of Allison for Henderson and using the budget elsewhere. I think that's worked out quite well for me. Even though we got a minus points against City, I mean anyone can do that, right? I think he's turned out quite well for me.
Yeah, exactly, mate. And so therefore that would be three moves for me. But then I think I'm covered then pretty much. I don't think I've got a cap in for. Let's have a look. I've got no cap on the 14th of October. I don't think.
What
And then
fixtures?
no cap for the 24th. But I'm covered all the way up until then. So that's three moves then to see me through to the 14th,
Mhm.
which will leave me on. I'll have used 9 transfers by that point, which I'll be really happy with. But a side that is really well set. So I'm not sure what the 14th is, Tom.
Brentford v Brighton.
Yeah, so I can just make a decision closer to the time there. And then who's on the 24th?
So there's also Fulham, Villa, and Leicester Leeds on the 20th of October.
Yeah, so I've got Polini already, and
Oh, of course, I forgot that. Of
I
course.
captained him the other night, mate. He got 7 or 8 tackles, didn't he? So he got me a 10-pointer as a captain, which I was delighted about because obviously Chelsea conceded. I have potentially earmarked Mitrovic in, but the only thing is, I look like I'm going to captain Jesus,
You'll have
all
Kane,
being
Haaland,
well.
and Jesus most of the season, won't you? So it's difficult.
Yeah, I've got Jesus pending for captaincy on the 23rd and the 30th. So it just looks like if I was to do a Mitrovic, it would be in and an out job, um, especially with a Liverpool or a City player penned in for the 22nd, 2 days after the Fulham captaincy.
I think you might as
So
well just hold Polinia.
hold and go Polinia. Yeah. So yeah, that's where I'm at, mate. So although yesterday wasn't great, I feel like I am learning my lessons from last year, and I'm just going to see how this pans out later in the season. Again, like a Leicester player could haul tonight, or a United player could haul, and it kind of scuppers it. There is such a bit of luck to the game as well, isn't there?
Oh mate, I'm not too because I play other fantasy games and got lots of other hobbies. So I will never let Sky Fantasy be the bane of my life or whatever. But yeah, I've just had such a poor start compared to other people, and it's not. I don't think it's been any ill-informed transfers at all. I mean, you could argue that bringing in a Leicester player tonight could be ill-informed, but again, it allows me to do Van Dijk to Haaland on Saturday, so I feel like it's still a smart move. But yeah, I've just been really really unlucky. Like I picked Son over Kane, and that was a massive swing.
And if you
Son
did that last season, you'd be the other way around.
Son won the Golden Boot last year. He's classed as a midfielder in Sky. There's no Man of the Match award this year. So I thought, well, I mean, how can he possibly score less points than Harry Kane? And well, we all saw what happened. And then, well, yesterday the having Salah and no Haaland absolutely killed me. And I brought Haaland out for Kane, and my plan was to leave Haaland out. And obviously Kane got his brace, so I was quite content with that decision. And then he just absolutely stonked it v Forest, didn't he? And I was left with Salah captain and only a couple of assists. So, yeah, I just feel like I've just had a bad luck on some close calls, really, to be honest.
Yeah, what's your sort of rank and points?
All right, so I'm really annoyed. I've used 8 transfers now, and my rank is 21,950.
Not bad at all. What's your points?
I'm on total points. I am on. Let's have a quick look. I'm on 406.
Yeah, so my team that's 10,000, 11,000, even 12,000 higher than you is on 428. So there's no reason to
It can all
get
be clawed
disheartened
back,
at all,
can't
mate.
it? Yeah.
Again, like learnings from last season, I'm hoping if anyone's watching this and they've had similar to me, it's very, very easy to get caught up in the micro, looking
Mm.
at the micro, who's doing well now. Like I know that Haaland is a long-term pick, don't get me wrong. But looking at like right now and wanting a really good rank right now, I just don't think you're not gonna lose if you don't do if you do stupid moves. You're not gonna lose too. If you don't do stupid moves, sorry, you're not gonna lose too much ground. Your Leicester move made sense because it allowed you to do something else. So it fitted in with your structure. But I'm just not worried. Trying not to worry about my rank too
Yeah.
much and looking at that and thinking, like I said, get my plan in place. Old school, by the way. Get the plan in place for the next run until the the fixtures that we have. I'm really happy with the sort of 4 enablers, 5 enablers that I'm going to have. I think most people on the pods have talked about them. Polinia, Kamara. Kamara is disappointing last night. He had 3 tackles in like 20, 30 minutes and just couldn't get that fourth, could he? Kamara, Polinia, got both of those. Really happy with them. Saliba,
And
as
Fafana's
another
going to be the next
enabler
one,
who's
isn't he?
doing well. And then potentially Fafana, Hendo as well. And then you could probably class Eric Dyer in and around there as well. Smashed passing bonus last night. So I think like with a handful of those guys, it allows you then to have those big hitters, those premiums, those big boys for those captain days, and you're inevitably going to do well. The leaderboard is obviously muddled up with people that are making numerous moves as well. Always the concern is, Tom, the good Sky players have started well, but again, there's a lot of season to go.
Thanks for that little pep talk, mate. That's helped me.
Well, I've got to do it to myself as well because it's quite easy to chase the early rank, isn't it? But people will be burning through transfers and that sort of stuff. So, have some kind of long-term vision on it. And I think come the end of the season, you're going to be doing absolutely fine.
I thought because it's been a bit of a weird game week, hasn't it? Having some midweek games. And I originally said that we'd probably record this on Tuesday, but things just caught up with the both of us, I think. So we never did it in the end, which means quite a lot of the Twitter questions we've got are sort of overtaken by events now. So what we could probably cover, mate, is just if we talk through the fixtures, like the midweek games that have gone, and then I think it's called Gameweek 5 in Sky, but it's Gameweek 6 in FPL. We can talk through the fixtures coming up and who captains might be.
Let's do it, mate. That sounds like a great idea.
So games gone by Tuesday, 30th of August. We had Fulham beating Brighton 2-1, Palace 1, Brentford 1, Southampton 2, Chelsea 1, and Leeds 1, Everton 1. Key things for me, really. I know you said you had Polinia captain who did absolute wonders for you with his tier 2 tackles. I've had him in my team since the start of the season, so yeah, I'm really happy with him. But my captain, and the guy I've just taken out for Harvey Barnes, was Koulibaly. I brought him in for his red card game, kept him because I knew I'd want a captain against Southampton, and then they lose 2-1. Just really unlucky on that. Any other standout players from that day to you? Obviously, Rodrigo got a dislocated shoulder, I think.
I think he's out for a month, isn't he? He wasn't sort of in my long-term thought processes anyway, Rodrigo, but yeah, that puts that one out. Zaha continues to bang. It's just, I know if I was to bring like a Zaha in, he'd just go back to the default. He'd stop. Mitrovic obviously looking like a right handful.
Forgot about him, yeah. I did a tweet, and I think trying to put myself in a position of a Premier League defender, there are 2 players in the league that I absolutely would not want to man mark. One of them is St Maximin for Newcastle, because I just think he is an absolute walking nightmare. And the other one's Mitrovic. I don't know what Mitrovic has done over the last year that he's been in the Championship, but he looks like he's just completely unplayable at the moment. Like no one can lay a glove on him when he's in the air. He's unbelievable.
Yeah, he's superb in the air, isn't he? So I think he's a really, really good asset. I know James mentioned this on the pod, so it's kind of like I did think it anyway, but James mentioned it about the Brighton players picking up passing again. Potential change in formation. I think that's probably one to watch. Adam Webster at 7.4. I think he's 7.4. If he continues to get passing bonus, I think he could be a really good shout. Obviously, Potter's done a great job with Brighton there, and they're solid enough. And there's a lot of value in that there. Apart from that, Tom, that's pretty much it really for me on that evening.
Yeah, and the one thing I did check as well was the Crystal Palace defender passing numbers, but it doesn't look like they've had passing bonus for a few games now. I was picking them up.
I was debating bringing in either Anderson or Gahey for that night, but then I went back through and looked at their passing. I was like, again, learnings from last year, I want to see some trends before I bring them in. So that's why I end up sticking with Polinia again. But it's a watch and wait, isn't it? Like Brighton have just proved they're like Dunk and them lot were like nowhere near it the first few games, and then they've just smashed through it. So again, there could be some value back in that Brighton defence if it continues.
And then on Wednesday we had Bournemouth nil, Wolves nil. Obviously, the very painful game for me. City 6, Forest nil. Jesus getting a goal in a 2-1 win over Villa for Arsenal. West Ham 1, Tottenham 1, and Liverpool 2, Newcastle 1. I mean, obviously the main talking points: Haaland's unbelievable first half hat trick. I imagine there are a number of listeners who had him, so congrats to you if you did. And also, I think worth mentioning Cancelo. You know, if you captained Cancelo instead of Haaland and didn't have Haaland, you wouldn't have done too badly out of that, I don't think.
No, he just came off, didn't he, quite early again. So had he have not come off, he would have ended up on probably 17 points with the max passing bonus. But I think he got pulled off around early 50s. So I still think he's tremendous value in the game. It's just a little bit frustrating for the Cancelo owners that he came off just at least shy of the 2 point bonus for 60 passes.
I think
That's
it.
the second game in a row, isn't it?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think it suggests to me that he's at least going to play the Villa game. Pep probably wants to play him every Premier League game possible, doesn't he? So that might suggest why he's getting brought off early.
Yeah. And I mean, you take a 14 pointer for sure. And you're thinking games like Tottenham when that comes up and certain games where it's probably going to be a bit closer, you probably expect Cancelo to stay on the pitch the whole time. So again, you could put the positive spin on it that he's just resting the legs for Villa and then for the Champions League game. So there wouldn't be any concerns there. Same as Haaland. Haaland could have come off at half time. The damage was done. He could have come off at 38 minutes after his hat trick and sat the rest of the time on the bench. Obviously, Alvarez got 2 goals as well, so it looks like Alvarez and Haaland could start together. I just think Pep's going to want to go into like Haaland's on flames at the moment, so Pep's going to want to go into that game against Villa, just get it killed off early, and then like exactly like a repeat of the Nottingham Forest game, and then be able to pull off his big boys. Um, you know, 60 minutes, 55 minutes, whatever it is, 65 minutes, and ready again.
I'm just thinking if there are any other talking points. Do you know if the Wolves defenders, did they get passing against Bournemouth?
Not sure. Should I have a look? I did.
Yeah, they
check,
did.
actually.
10 pointers for 10 pointers for Kilman and Collins. So they're looking pretty good at Wolves defence. Yeah. What did they? They didn't manage to get passing in their last two though against Spurs and Newcastle. So it just looks against the more possession giving up teams, the Wolves defence get passing bonus, but against the more competitive teams, they probably don't. So yeah, one to monitor. And they've got some. Well, in their next 5 games, they've got Liverpool, City, and Chelsea. So it's probably in a void for now on Wolves for me.
Yeah, definitely.
And then obviously tonight, mate, we've got it'd be the past by the time this goes up, but we got Leicester at home to United. And if money was no object, I would have gone for Bruno as my captain because I think without Ronaldo in the team, he plays better. He took a free kick away from Eriksen in the Southampton game, and he'll probably be on penalties. And he looks pretty good again. To be fair, does Bruno? So I think he's the outstanding captain. But again, I couldn't afford him, so I just put the captain, use a transfer on Barnes and stuck the armband on and just see what happens, really.
Yeah, I think you're right with Bruno. Again, it'd be a watch and wait for me to see if he can consistently return to the Bruno of a couple of seasons ago.
Okay, and then looking into game week, I think it's called game week 5. I don't have it on the screen, but I'm pretty sure it's game week 5.
Yeah,
We got Everton at home to Liverpool, Wolves at home to Southampton, Tottenham at home to Fulham, Forest away to Bournemouth, Newcastle at home to Palace, Chelsea at home to West Ham, Brentford at home to Leeds, and Villa at home to Man City. Lots of 3 o'clock kickoffs there. I think you've probably already mentioned who we think our best captain is on that day. I think it's Haaland.
it'd be Haaland or sort of Cancelo. The issue is not seeing the team sheet. I think you could make a case for Harry Kane, make a case for Eric Dyer. Although Fulham are looking good. I just think Liverpool Everton's going to be cagey.
I agree.
Like Frank's not going to want to get beat like heavily in this, so I feel like it's going to be quite a close game in terms of
It's the early
um,
kickoff,
goals.
Goodison Park, tight pitch. Fans going to be hostile. Yeah, Liverpool. It's gonna. I think Liverpool will win, but it will be a cagey game, which just leads me to bringing in Haaland and giving him the armband. And to be honest, I'd expect him to play a half of football maximum, but I just think he'll start. Like, he's been too good not to start, and then it's just down to how many minutes he actually stays on the pitch for.
Yeah, yeah, I think I'll be doing the same, mate. Van Dijk to Haaland, and then sticking the armband on Haaland.
And then Sunday, the 4th of September, I've actually got a couple of players in this one now. We got Brighton at home to Leicester and Man United at home to Arsenal. But yeah, I think the resounding captain in this one's going to be Jesus, isn't it?
Yeah, I wouldn't hate like a Dunk or Webster for that for Brighton. Like I think there's probably a good possibility of some returns there. Again, we just haven't seen the trends. But yeah, I think you're right. The sort of resounding captain that day is Jesus. He started really well. Arsenal have started well. United not so, although better more recently. Probably not overthink it. Armband on Jesus.
Leicester United still 0-0 as well. Just check the score. But
Yeah.
I agree. Jesus is the outstanding captain there. Let's take them off. We got one Twitter question from Michael Harland. So he has asked us. So there's a bit of a story to tell here. So he brought in, I think it's Nathan Collins from Wolves. So he brought him in for Zinchenko on Sunday. So I think that was a good move. He got 10 points straight away. He's going to keep him for Bournemouth and Southampton and then sell for a Brighton asset on the Sunday the 4th to cover the Friday night game against Brentford. Makes sense. He says he can have any position for 8.6 million. Who would you choose? So you got a Brighton or Brentford player for... So he wants a Brighton asset, for 8.6 or below.
So you've got Pascal Gross. How much is McAllister?
McAllister, so Trossard, I'll just go through them all. Trossard 7.9, Gross 7.5, McAllister 7.4, and then Casado's a bit of a favourite, isn't he? Although he's not been doing too well of late. He's 6.7.
And then defensively, Webster 7.4.
Yeah, Dunk 7.9, Veltman 7.8, Webster 7.4, and their new, although he's not going to get past him, their new wing back, is it like Purvis or something like that? He's 6.6.
What's their fixtures after that?
So he wants to bring in Sunday the 4th. I'm a bit confused. I'm presuming he means Sunday the 4th of September. I think it's the 4th, isn't it? So yeah, they got Leicester, Bournemouth, Palace, Liverpool, Tottenham, Brentford.
Leicester, Bournemouth, Palace, Tottenham, Liverpool.
I've got the
how much passing bonus are you seeing there for Dunk and Webster?
Right. So
I just don't know the answer to that.
no one knows because we haven't seen a trend. That's the thing. Like you were saying, you want to see solid trends of passing bonus to back a player to get it. They've had it in one game this season against Fulham. And I'm pretty sure Fulham also conceded passing bonus to the Wolves defenders as well. So it's just who knows? I just think it's impossible to call.
Yeah, you wouldn't think they're going to get it versus Liverpool, Tottenham, or probably Palace. I wouldn't think.
Maybe Leicester as well.
Yeah, potentially Leicester. So does that lead you then to like who's on pens? Is it McAllister's on pens?
McAllister, yeah.
Obviously, Gross has started the season well, so he could be a good shout. Casado, I would avoid at the moment. I'm just not seeing enough on bonus. I don't think McAllister's going to pull down any trees, but if he's on pens for that rate, that price could be all right. Trossard's chipping in with a couple of assists, I think, isn't he? Have you have a look at Trossard?
Yeah, not too bad for Trossard. I was just looking at Tony actually because He's my quiet favourite. But yeah, Trossard's had assists, 1 goal, 1 assist in the 5 games. It's not too bad, but I don't know. I just feel like he's stuck with
There's
obviously
no
the
one.
Wolves defender, isn't he? Who we'd want to sell. Who would you go for? I'd probably just go to Fofana, to be honest. I just think you can't ignore Fofana at that price and then just deal with a single game day on the day.
Yeah, or if he's not got Saliba as well,
Oh, exactly,
Saliba.
yeah. I just think
Then it,
Fofana and Saliba are so strong and be so highly owned. I just think you got to get on them.
I think if it had to be a Brighton one and I was to take a punt, if it could be anyone, I'd probably go Webster, I think. But that's because I'm just not enamoured by any of Webster or Dunk, because Dunk's obviously a good goal threat as well. So I'm not blown away by any of the other assets. Hence why I didn't bring them in the week. I'd like to see a few more games. So yeah, if you haven't got Fofana or Saliba, then that could be the go. Just obviously we want to see that Fofana kind of nails down a position in that team fairly regularly, of course. Otherwise, that really is 7.5
The
million
one
wasted on nothing.
I was going to say, the one comment I would have is that it's after Henderson has all his single games. So I'm pretty sure the last Forest single game day is the 10th of October against Villa. So that's the last feasible day that you'd captain Dean Henderson. So you could go to Sanchez on the 14th of October for the Brentford game. And then Brighton play Forest at home on the 18th of October. And the other fixture is Palace against Wolves. So you could move to Sanchez. We're talking October fixtures right now. So it's way too far in advance, I think, to plan. But looking at it, you could go for Robert Sanchez on the 14th of October to captain against Brentford. Then he can also be your captain on the 18th. And
Against
then
Forest.
against Forest, I think that's the move I would make.
Yeah. Or if you had Hendo still, then you've got Henderson for that captaincy. Don't mind that, Tom. There's options there. I just
Well,
don't think any of them are amazing.
no, my view, if yeah, I would
You
just go
look
to
sideways
Fofana
and
or
go,
Saliba.
yeah,
I just think they're too good. Even though
yeah.
Chelsea have been crap defensively, Fofana's going to get passing bonus pretty much every game. And that's worth it for 7.5 in my opinion.
Yeah, and then obviously Chelsea will return to clean sheets. There's no
Yeah.
doubt about that. Too much of a quality side, so there's going to be plenty of value in Fofana, for sure.
Yeah, hopefully that answers your question, Michael. I know you need to make a decision by the looks of it quite soon, but yeah, ultimately I think I'd just go to Fofana or Saliba if you don't have one of them.
And then cover any potential captaincy off with other players. Basically, is what you're
Yeah, I
saying
think
there.
so. I think so.
Like we would do, because I've got no Brighton penned in. Like you said, I've got no cap on the 14th, which would have been the first entry point for a captaincy for Brighton. And like you said, that could be Sanchez, and then Sanchez covers you on the 18th as well. So there's potentially 2 captains there with Sanchez.
Yeah, I
I
think
quite like that, Tom.
that Sanchez move on the 14th is one to make, but it's so far in advance. I'm not even thinking that far myself. I just make my move sideways now and go for something on the night.
I've just updated my planner with reminding myself I could actually do that, and that would cover me for a couple of captaincies.
So yeah, that might be a bit of breaking knowledge there for Sky players. I don't know if that's been mentioned on a pod before, but there you go. I don't really have any more to say, mate. I'll switch back to our main screen. That was it. Just a quick review of the fixtures, etc. Yeah, we didn't have as many questions this week because I thought I'd record on Tuesday, but it didn't quite happen. So apologies if you've asked a question that was overtaken by events, but it's just one of those things this week.
Yeah, cool.
Anything else, mate?
No, I think that's it for now, and let's see where we're at kind of into next week.
Yeah, fingers crossed Harvey Barnes. Well, actually not fingers crossed because I'm a Man United fan. So I think that was also a point. I was completely non-biased about the team that I support then. I just picked 2 players at face value, regardless of Man United. So yeah, I think I did quite well there, to be fair. But yeah, if you enjoyed what you saw, give us a like and subscribe to our channel, and we'll be back to sort of normality with only weekend games next week and obviously the Champions League to get through. But yeah, until then, I hope you have a good weekend and a good luck for Sky. See you later.